All right, welcome. I think we are live in the Grow Your Skincare Brand and Business Facebook group. Let me just ensure that we are all set to get started with our workshop. Okay, looks like we're all set. Welcome everyone if you are joining us live. We are finally mounting the Simple Social Media Strategy workshop. Welcome if you're joining live. If you are watching the replay, thanks for being here. Thanks for spending this hour with me as we explore an area that I know is challenging for most small bath and beauty brands. I know it certainly is a challenge for me as a small business owner myself. And one of the major issues in this area is that when you are running a small brand and you are a solopreneur or you have a very small team, it is oftentimes it's very difficult to wear all these hats. So many of us are formulators. So we are responsible for developing our products as well as manufacturing our products to get them to market. And many of us are also the founders of our businesses. So that means that we also wear the hat of entrepreneur, innovator, CEO, business strategist, business development officer. So there are those components that are required. And then the general management that is required for running any small business. So customer service, bookkeeping and accounting, purchasing and procurement, all of those kinds of areas are also oftentimes, our responsibility as well. But nonetheless, once you get into a business like this, where you are creating products for customers, you have to find a way to prioritize marketing. Because if you are just making products, formulating great products, if you don't have a system in place or a strategy or an approach to telling the world about your products, effectively, you will end up just having what you hear all the time, a very expensive hobby. So you'll be spending lots of time, lots of money, lots of energy into creating these amazing products and these amazing solutions. But because you don't have an effective way of telling the world about your products and giving the world an opportunity to buy your products through sales, if you don't have a system in place to do that, then your business is simply not sustainable and it will crash and it will die. So it is very important, even if you're a solopreneur. I have a very, very small team too. It's just 4 of us. And marketing is still a big challenge. And in fact, my other 3 team members are in the lab. So the marketing component is on me, and occasionally I will have an assistant help me very part-time. And it is a challenge for me. So I do acknowledge that this is a very important area. Marketing is very, very, very important. If you want to truly build a sustainable business, if you truly want to build a business that has impact on the lives of those you serve. So social media, particularly in the bath and beauty space, is very, very important. As you can imagine, it is oftentimes a highly visual space. People are motivated to engage in our businesses and in our products, largely based on what they may see online. It's not the case for all brands that you have to have a strong social media presence, because it really does depend on your strategy. So if you're doing more business to business sales or wholesale consignment, social media may be less important for you, because you're doing more, going to stores and engaging directly with managers, purchasing managers, sales managers, and so on. Or if you are focusing more on local vendor events, where you are setting up a pop-up shop somewhere, social media may be less important for you as well. So I'm not making a blanket statement that a social media strategy is important for everybody, and at the same intensity. But for most of us, it is an important component, either for promotion purposes or for just brand visibility and to help to build the trust that is required within our customer bases to sell. So that being said, given that it is a very important component, and I've done several polls through this community, I've working with one-on-one clients. It is something that comes up all the time. So within the Bath and Beauty Brand Growth Hub, we have each month of the year, there is a planner with content. And this allows our members to easily develop and set up their social media. You know, it takes some of that creative burden off of them. And in developing that plan, there was a strategy that I used, right, to help ensure that the strategy was easily repeatable for our members, but also so that the customers on the other end was getting regular and relevant content that would motivate them ultimately to purchase products. So what I've basically done, and I will be doing in this particular session, is pulling bits and pieces of the strategy that I use in developing the social media content for the Bath and Beauty Brand Growth Hub, and offering the information or the strategy to you so that you can utilize some of those tips and approaches in developing your own strategy. Now, strategy is different from implementation. I am a big planner. I spend a lot of my time kind of crafting ideas and developing those ideas in a very systematic way, because it actually helps me with implementation. When I have an actual strategy documented somewhere, that's the hard part, because once I have the you know, it's like dancing, right? If someone shows you all the moves, you know, it's why step dancing is so popular, right? So if somebody tells you these are the moves to this particular song, you'll find that you will look really great dancing, because you already know the steps, you already have the strategy, you know the moves, you know how the moves are linked to the beat, you already know that, right? So if you're taught the line dance or the steps, you can look great dancing. But if you are not a dancer and somebody just puts you on a stage and says dance, you're probably going to look really crazy, right? And it's the same thing with anything. It's the same reason why we use formulations when we're making products. You get the steps first, and then once you have the steps, it's just about implementing. It's just about, you know, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And the Growth Hub social media calendar is really a rinse and repeat planner. If you take some time, for those of you who are members using it, and you go through, you realize that there are certain themes that keep repeating, and there are certain times of the year that things keep on repeating. It's really a dance. And what I'm doing is showing you the moves. I'm showing you the moves in this particular workshop on how you can develop, create this social media approach, so that you can easily dance, you can easily implement a social media strategy, because I do know that you're very, very busy doing so many other things. So your business, as well as I know many of you are working full-time, many of you have very active family lives. So this is really an approach to help you to more easily implement a social media strategy, just to help stimulate some actual audience building for your brand. All right, so welcome if you're just hopping on. Very, very happy to have you here. I'm going to now go ahead and share my screen so that you can at least follow how this strategy is built out. All right, and just for a point to note, if you already have an amazing social media strategy, you know, does this work for you? It can, right? There might be certain tips that you would not have yet thought of that might be useful. So please go ahead and join us. If you have not yet started doing anything, but you only have some product ideas in your head, this would be perfect for you. So you can start at the very beginning, building out this strategy and kind of understanding what foundations you need to have in place to ensure that you have an effective strategy to move. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so I am using the Simple Social Media Strategy Workbook. If you're in the Bath and Beauty Brand Growth Hub, this is in the on the dashboard. So as soon as you log in, it's directly on the dashboard. I'll just go ahead and link that. So if you're joining and if you're from the Growth Hub, if you're a member, just go ahead and it's right there on the dashboard, so you can click that button and it will take you to the workbook. So let me just copy and paste this in the chat. Okay. And if you're not in the Growth Hub, you can still get a copy of the workbook in our shop. So here is a workbook. So for just $9, you can download the workbook and use it to develop your own strategy. So I'll go ahead and put this link in the chat as well. All right. Okay. Just want to make sure that nobody is buying it who doesn't need to buy it. Sometimes that happens. All right, so there we go. So the links are in the comment in case you want to get a copy as you go through. And if you're not in the hub, or if you prefer not to purchase, that's fine. You can just make notes based on what I'll cover. It's pretty comprehensive. This will be available. The replay will be available in the Facebook group throughout the weekend. So you can always go in and make your notes based on our discussion. Okay, so as I said, it's a simple strategy. So it is not all encompassing. It is not exhaustive. It is really designed to help give you a kind of more robust and mature approach to your social media. Okay, and the strategy is the foundation. So it is not about implementation, meaning you will need to, after developing the strategy, you will need to actually do the work to post and to write and to create. What this is, again, is teaching you the dance. It's teaching you the strategy and the approach, so that when you go onto your social media page, you are not trying to figure out what to do. You already have that approach and all the moves already set up for you, so that you're not guessing what to do. Okay, I'm gonna use my trial version here, just so that I'm not interfering with the template. So the moves are divided into 5 key areas. So define your audience and brand. I call this pre-work because this is something that is not directly related to social media platforms, but it is very important to ensure that you develop a very robust and effective strategy. You have to know who you're selling to, and you have to know how your business, your brand, your products is a perfect match to that buyer or that customer or that consumer. 2, your content pillars and themes. The reason why this is very important is, again, these are the specific steps, okay, as we go through. Third, we will then select and optimize your platform. So that's the third step. The fourth step is to craft content. And the fifth step is to create a posting schedule. Now, as we go through, there are going to be some specific instructions, action items that you will need to do, and I'll highlight those to you. So for each section, there are specific action items to help you build out that strategy. If you're using the workbook, once you're finished filling in all the content in the workbook for your specific brand, you have a social media strategy. You can take that and implement it. So when you go to post, you're referencing the social media strategy, or you can hand it off to a social media strategist, because you would have already thought through the strategy. You would have already developed all the main concepts that are aligned to your brand, or you can give it to a VA or to an assistant to implement for you. So you have done all of the heavy lifting, and this can be easily executed by anybody, okay? So let us start. As I mentioned before, if you're in the Growth Hub, you already have access to this, as well as all the other types of workbooks and tools that we use specifically for skincare and hair care brands. So let's start with the first part of the dance. This is the fundamentals, knowing your audience and knowing your product. So you have to know this. It's, you know, many of us are just selling products. So we buy, our own personal care products in the store, and we're very creative, and we do a little Google search and say, how is lotion made? And you realize, oh, well, this doesn't seem too hard. And oh, there are courses that will teach me exactly how to make what. And there are lots of recipes online on blogs and forums and in Facebook groups and on YouTube. And there are lots of books that I can buy on Amazon. And oh, great, I can make these products. And you go ahead and make these products. And you have no idea who those products are really being made for. And if you have not clearly defined who these products are for, you will have a hard time selling, right? Because it is very important that you think about your products as solutions to your buyer's problems, right? Anytime someone pays for something with a credit card, they are buying a solution. Every time we buy something, it is a solution that we are buying. And it is very important that you understand your customer, your audience, what problems they're having, and how your lotion is helping to solve those problems. This is pre-work, meaning this is something you really should be doing at the very, very onset, at the very, very beginning in conceptualizing your products. You really should be doing this ahead of time. You will notice it if you're in my community, if you've been following me for some time. This is something that comes up time and time again. It doesn't matter what it is that we're doing. It's very important that you understand who is buying your products, who you want to buy your products, and how your products and brand helps to meet those needs. So if you have the workbook, there's some key areas that you're going to have to do. So you're going to have to, two main areas. You're going to have to define your customer avatar. This is very standard business development practice, understanding your customer and defining them. If you're doing business to consumer, and most of you are direct to consumer, so you're selling directly to the individual who is going to use your product, it's useful to give them a name, right? You have to visualize who that person is, because when you go onto social media and you click on someone's profile, you should be able to kind of automatically see, based on how they look and what kind of content they are posting or they're engaging with, you should be able to tell early on if this person would be an ideal person for you, right? So you're effectively profiling your buyer early on. So give them a name, an age, a gender, if that is relevant. Where in the world are they? This location component can actually make your business. So if you focus on selling to a particular group of people in a particular location, this can help to distinguish your brand easily, right? Do they have a specific occupation? What's the lifestyle? Many brands now tend to focus on positioning themselves as lifestyle brands, because the truth is our lives are very complex and everything is all intertwined. When we buy a product, we buy it as a solution to a particular problem, but that is because it helps us to identify and to build a certain lifestyle. So you have to be able to understand what that lifestyle is. So if you're buying, if you're making products, and I'll use this example throughout. You know, I consider myself a highly anxious, high octane, you know, always busy, always, my mind never shuts off. And that's, you know, in a good thing in some way, but, you know, on the other hand, it also is a bad thing, right? So I'm always, even if I'm not physically working, I'm really always working. You know, I have young children. I work from home, even though my lab is at the university. So I'm very, very active in my kids' day-to-day life. You know, I'm definitely the mother that teachers know. You know, I'm very busy like that. And that describes my lifestyle. And the kinds of products that I'm drawn to tend to understand that that is my lifestyle. So I use, for example, like bath bombs for busy mothers, you know, like myself, you know, sometimes it just gets really bad. And my solution is to take a bath. Like when it gets really, really bad and I go in the bathtub, it's because I'm really, really stressed out, right? So products that tend to appeal to, you know, or work to soothe and to relax, you know, those that tend to use that kind of terminology tends to speak to my lifestyle, right? So it is very important that you understand your customer in that way. Who are they at their core, right? And what does their life look like, right? What are their interests and hobbies? You know, my interests and hobbies is my work and my children. You know, I kind of, you know, I try to watch TV and I try to read. I read a lot for work, but I try to read, you know, kind of recreationally, and I try to watch TV recreationally. And of late, I fall asleep every time. But those interests are important to me. So if you look through my Facebook, you'll see lots of things related to reading. Like I'm in lots of groups about books, even though I'm just not reading as much as I can, but those are things I like because they're relaxing. And they're soothing, right? I hope it's all connecting. And then what are the challenges and pain points? Stress, you know, high anxiety, you know, working a lot, but wanting something that's easy to use in my day-to-day routine, you know, because I'm so busy. It's the reason why I cut my hair off. I'm too busy. I can't spend a lot of time on my hair. I'm too busy, you know, so I need something that is easy to use, but is also will not damage my hair because I don't have the time to have it maintained all the time. So it has to be something natural, has to be something relatable, you know, so you're almost digging into who the person is and understanding those things. If you can define things like skin type and hair type for your particular product, this can also be very, very useful. So go ahead and build those things out because you're going to see how important it is when we get down to the content component. What are your customers' beauty goals, right? Try and define those as much as possible. And what are the kinds of products that they prefer to use? What are their behaviors? So how often are they buying the kinds of products that they would normally get and where? You know, so I will buy my products in a supermarket. So when because I'm busy, right? So when I go online to fill my cart, or if I go into the supermarket, everything has to be there. There is no, you know, I buy some things here and then I buy some things there. Everything has to be in a one-stop shop, right? But I also like to go to craft markets and I like to buy things at craft markets. And that may also be a part of my relaxation, you know. So I also buy lots of skincare and hair care products at craft markets as well. You have to kind of understand in that way and how often. And how often the purchases is a very, very important component because that helps you with projections and so on. And what's the kind of budget? You know, I will spend a little bit more on products because again, I'm using very few things, but they can't damage my skin, they can't damage my hair. So I'm willing to spend a little more than maybe the average customer, for example. Where are you gonna find your buyer? So that buyer that you have defined, where are they? And they're online, you know. they're either reading blogs or they are on Instagram or they're on TikTok, they're online somewhere, right? You have to figure out where they are, and what kind of content do they like, right? Who are they following? These are things you're gonna have to start to look through. And I have some tips here. If you have identified some competitive brands, okay, go in and stalk, right, those pages, because your competitive brands also have similar customer avatars, and you can go on and you can look at their profile and see. So I think let me see if I can hide this. So for example, this is The Ordinary, kind of very well formulated, kind of more cosmeceutical brand. And if you go in, just at a glance, you can see the kinds of persons just by looking at them, age, race, even when in looking at their names, you can probably even tell where in the world they are. Sometimes if you click on the profile, you may see, if a profile is open, you may see who these people are, and clearly you can tell, young women with young families, that are very, they're very in tune with sustainable, environmentally friendly, natural products. You can see that just looking through this profile, right? Let's see if I find another one, just to see if we can, you user-generated content, still waiting on an SPF moisture. Okay, that's this is private, but you can again see, you can profile them just by looking at them and get a sense of, clearly very family focused, but young and spirited, and you can make some assumptions about who these people are just looking through your competitors' social media profiles. Okay, so I hope that makes some sense. Let me see if there are any questions. All right, seems like okay, lots of people. Okay, sorry. So I'm aware that you're currently live because it doesn't show up on the link you sent that you started. I see. All right, let me see if I can do everyone and see if it will. Yeah, it won't. What I'll do is just ensure, thanks for that, everyone. Claudia, I'm not sure why you can't view the live feed, because it's here in the Facebook group. So once you're in the Facebook group, it should be fine. I'm gonna see if I can pin to feature. Right, can't seem to do that either. But what I'll do, I'll ensure that I repost the link and tag everyone. For some reason, I can't seem to tag everyone when I'm live. But it will be there for sure. But thanks so much for that. Okay. All right. All right, so let's hop to the second section. All right, so let's hop to the second section. Oh, I wanted to also mention now ChatGPT. I know there's a lot of interest here, and there's a lot of debate as to whether it's relevant, particularly for a brand. It's totally relevant. It's totally helpful. It's helpful with relieving what I call creative burden. It's almost like having someone with you at coffee brainstorming, right? That's how I use ChatGPT, just somebody to brainstorm. And what I've done, I've created some prompts, right? So that's how ChatGPT works. You ask it a question, which is called a prompt, and then it gives you a response. It's fairly straightforward. So I've put some prompts in the workbook for you to use as you're developing. So here's a prompt. I'm gonna type that in. So it says my brand offers blank. So for your brand, if you've already conceptualized your brand, you're gonna need to fill in the information, right? And it's designed for blank. Paint a picture of the kinds of skincare, hair care, personal care, beauty challenges my ideal customer might have and the kinds of solutions they're looking for. Okay, so again, this is a problem solution fit, which is very, very important. So let's say my brand offers bath bombs, right? This is my fictitious company for, you know, busy working mothers. Okay, paint a picture of the kinds of, I'm gonna put skincare and personal care, you know, because bath bombs are not only about skincare, but they're also about hygiene and so on. So I like to include personal care challenges versus beauty, right? That's something you have to almost think through when you're conceptualizing your products. You know, is it for beauty, which is more cosmetic? Is it for personal care, which is more hygiene, health, wellness? Is it for skincare, specifically hair care, nail care, you know, which kind of is a little bit more granular. So what are the ideal challenges that my customer might have? Ideally, when you're putting information into ChatGPT, the more information you can give it, the better. So this first statement here, if you can build that out even more, your brand offers, if you can list the kind of products and the specific customer avatars and more details, perfect. If not, you can get ChatGPT to help you build out those details and ensure that you're properly documenting those, okay? So we'll just do a run and here it is, right? So this is me, right? Exactly as I described myself as being an avatar for this fictitious brand is exactly what it's describing. So limited time for self-care. We're busy. I'm busy. I don't have time for spending an hour in the mirror. Just I don't have time for that, right? So it's on the go, highly stressed, highly fatigued, dry skin, dehydrated skin. It's probably all related to just not taking time, you know, for self-care, mental wellness, because sometimes it really, really does, with everything going on, it really does work on you, not only mentally, but physically. Desire for multitasking products, so products that clean, but also soothe, right? So everything in one place, and occasional indulgence, right? Occasionally I'd like to spend some time to myself. And it describes how bath bombs could potentially solve all of these issues. Now, when you take this information and populate this, it's going to bring such clarity. It's hard to describe unless you sit down and do it. You are going to kind of easily visualize who you're selling to. And when you're at a craft market, you will see when that woman passes your table. You're gonna see that she's a perfect person for your product, and the nature and the depth of how you engage her, your avatar, will be so deep that it really does allow you to connect even better and to even potentially get in touch with that person and increase sales. Okay. Claudia is asking for a Zoom link. Okay, I'm going to post, just give me a minute. Let me see if I can share that Zoom link. Yes, there is a Zoom link. And I'll just post that, and I'll post it in the chat as well. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, and I'll just go ahead and post it here as well. It's very strange that it's not showing for everyone, but I've gone ahead and I've posted the Zoom link in the chat here. Okay. All right, so let's hop to the next section. within, well, the next part. So the next part is branding. So you've thought through who your customer avatar is. You now need to think about how your products, your business is going to differentiate itself from every other solution that is out there on the market. And that's what brand identity is. How do you differentiate yourself on the shelf or in that marketplace where there are so many other solutions that are trying to appeal to that customer avatar's attention? So you have to think about the essence of what your product brings in as much detail as possible. I also like to talk about brand personality, because people are attracted to people, especially if you're a small brand. If you're a small brand and nobody knows you, you're not a household name, they will really, your customers will be attracted to you. And by you, it's not necessarily, because I know lots of you don't necessarily want to be profiling yourselves, but you, meaning the essence of your brand, has to become a person, okay? So you have to personify what this brand is. So give it a personality, right? So here is a bath bomb line that is geared towards, you know, high octane women. So the brand needs to become something that such a woman would be attracted to, right? So it will likely be, you know, a person. So imagine this high octane woman. What kind of person would she be attracted to help solve these solutions? So somebody who is relaxed, somebody who is, you know, maybe modern, somebody who is clean and crisp, somebody who is gentle. These are the kind of personality types that your brand needs to take on, okay? And this is important for social media, because when you convert that personality into a visual, that customer avatar needs to sense that just by looking at your profile, that your brand is mild and relaxing and calm and encouraging, and, you know, will tell you it's going to be okay. Calm down. We can do this. Let's take a break. Let's relax. Let's have some fun. Let's, you know, let's put the stress away. It's the personality you have to convert into your brand. It's not about just making products and popping them online and selling them, right? It doesn't happen exactly like that. As a small brand, you're going to have to personify and become something else. So I've included some brand personality words just to help you with the brainstorming. Just look through that. So calm, for example, this bath bomb has to be calm. You know, it has to be discreet, you know, because when I'm in my tub, I don't want to feel as if everybody knows I'm in there. You know, I want to be, you know, taking some time away, and the brand has to also understand that, you know. It has to be encouraging, right? Because well-being is important for this customer avatar, you know, kind-hearted, maybe mature, you know, maybe romantic, you know, because, you know, bath bombs kind of have a kind of romance appeal to it. And as busy women, we also want to have that side of us, you know, during our calm moments, fed as well, right? So this is a kind of personality that I'm referring to, as you go through your development. The voice is now important, right? So what are those terms and words that you would expect your customer avatar to love hearing? Okay, so calming, clean, healthy, gentle. You know, this is a kind of voice, so kind of words, almost a style of language that your customer avatar would be attracted to. And remember, when you're a small brand and you're just your first post on social media, you have to put words in there that will attract. And these social media, they understand. Their algorithm understands when you use certain words, those words are somehow translated to somebody halfway across the world to be pulled into it. That's how the algorithm works. So you have to select a handful of these words and messages to help you with your brand development. All right. Okay. Then the visual identity now is going to be very important. So how is your brand actually packaged? What are those visual elements? So again, customer avatar that's very busy does not want to look at a busy brand. Okay. You know, I see lots of that. I see lots of brands, owners, when they design their packaging, for example, it is so busy. And if you think about, if you're trying to appeal to a mother, she doesn't want to look at something busy because she's already mentally fatigued. So whatever it is that you put in front of her has to be so clear. It takes less work for her to figure out what is this in front of her. It's a reason why something like The Ordinary, right? This kind of design is so appealing to women, you know, who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, because it's so simple, The Ordinary. And when you're a busy woman or a busy man, you want something that's ordinary, that's plain, that's easy. And your brand identity, the visuals, has to also appeal to that. So it is very important as you go through that when you develop your brand identity, you think that through. And I've included in it some brand boards that you can use in Canva if you have not yet decided on your logo or your colors. Here is, you know, just something for you to start. So you can take any of these, use it, adjust it for your particular brand based on your customer avatar. Okay, all right. So I've included some other bits and pieces, brand story, values, and your unique selling proposition. And this is where all of that information culminates exactly to why your customers should choose you above any other brand that's out there. That's your unique selling proposition. And you need to clearly define this, because that is what will essentially be your heading on all your social media platforms, your unique selling proposition. So as you go through the workbook, this is going to be very, very important to helping you to translate. And then, are there existing brands that you would say are competitors? So they have similar profiles, similar product offerings, similar solutions, and similar customers, right, that they're helping to serve. You can go ahead and put that in. All right, I've also included some ChatGPT prompts, so you can use this. If you're not sure where to start, just copy and paste this, put it into ChatGPT, read through and see what connects. And then you can ask ChatGPT to narrow down or to zone in on specific areas as you go through, okay? All right, let me see if there are any other questions. Yes, so I will send an email. It will be here in the Facebook group, but I'll also send an email with a recap with the link to this particular video. So no worries, you will have the weekend to continue to go through this content. Okay, so now we're at the meat of the matter. So we understand our customer and we have defined a brand that we believe would appeal to this customer. You probably would have already done all of this at some point, right? And if you have, you don't need to do the pre-work. You've already done it. You already understand your customers. You already understand how your brand is translated to that. Now we need to dig into social media. Social media is essentially an avenue that allows you to share information about yourself, your products, your business, your brand. It's really just a platform that allows you to share information. This information is called content. Now, if you want to have a very strategic way of executing social media, let's not guess what kind of content you're going to share. We're going to set up from early on what kind of content you're going to share about your brand. And it's going to be based on the audience, right? On the specific audience that you would have defined in section 1. So in general, there are 5 big buckets of information that bath and beauty brands will share. 5 buckets or 5 pillars. These content pillars are promotion, education, inspiration, entertainment, and engagement. These are the 5 buckets. Now, under each of these buckets, there are some stones, and each stone has a very unique message, right? And that unique message is called a theme. So under promotion, there are product launches, limited time offers, seasonal promotions, bundle deals, customer reviews. These are just examples, not exhaustive. These are examples. Under education, tips, science behind the products that you're offering, ingredients, solutions, myths and facts, regimes. These are kind of educational themes under that pillar. Inspiration. So for example, busy mother, she wants to be encouraged that she's doing okay. You're doing okay. You're doing a good job, right? You are worth it. You remember CoverGirl? You're worth it. It's really an inspirational message, right? That's another bucket. The inspirational message can also come from a very personal place. So if you are a solopreneur, if you have a personal brand linked to your product brand, personal stories can be very, very powerful as inspirational messages. Entertainment. I know a lot of us, me, for example, I'm not the most entertaining person, but this is very important, especially if you're appealing kind of to a younger audience. This can be important, and it can also be done in a very creative, professional way as well. And engagement. How are you connecting with your customers? Now, each pillar, there are 5 pillars, and here are some examples of themes. For your strategy, you are going to select 1 or 2 content themes for each pillar. You are not going to do everything. 1 or 2. Because if you think about it, if you select 1 theme under promotions, you may have several products. So if you decide, okay, limited time offers is my promotion, your promotional theme, you have many products. So if you think about the different types of content pieces you have, it can be so many just from 1 single theme. So this is why I'm encouraging you. You're going to select just 1 or 2. If you're just starting, just select 1. So for example, for my fictional brand promotions, I may want to deal with limited time offers and customer reviews, right? Because I've had some people use my bath bombs really stressed out, and at the end of it, I get amazing reviews that people are so relaxed at the end of using my bath bomb. So that's gonna be an important component for sharing. Just 1 or 2, no more. Unless you already have an established brand and you know which themes work for you and you have more than 2, then you can add 2. But if you're just starting 1, if you already have a page and trying to enhance it, go for 2. Education, it may be important for me, maybe demos. People love to see how bath bombs are used, right? They love to see that. And then maybe ingredient spotlights. Right? For inspiration, maybe self-care rituals might be important, and empowerment, and empowerment messages are going to be important if you, and these are examples for my fictional bath bombs for busy moms. These are going to be important. Entertainment, maybe bloopers, because we all have, crazy bath time bloopers, and, maybe some challenges, right? De-stress challenge, engagement, I would say polls maybe, and maybe some, live tutorials, right? How do you use the bath bombs? How do you use that? How do you enhance the experience? Making spa at home, that might be important for engagement, okay? 1 or 2, that's it. And everything else we ignore. Delete everything else, just delete it. Get rid of all of this. Because having it in your face is just going to just start adding and having you judge, kind of doubt yourself. Delete it, just get rid of it. These are your content pillars, that's it, okay? All right, now we're moving closer. So we've identified our audience and our brand, some content pillars. We now need to figure out exactly which platform we're going to be using. And if you're just starting, you're going to choose 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. I know we want to have those little icons at the bottom of our website where we have TikTok and Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Facebook. We want to have it. Right? We want to have everything. But if you're working alone, you can't. You're just going to have one. You're going to start with one. Or even if you decide to have two, you should be able to recycle the content over two platforms. So choose two which the content can be recycled. So for example, Instagram and YouTube may not be the best fit because YouTube tends to be more long form content, longer videos, whereas Instagram tends to be more easy to consume type of content. So it may not be the best fit, but maybe Instagram and Facebook, because they're kind of in the same family, you can do everything in Meta all at the same time. Maybe that makes more sense, right? So I'm just giving you some ideas. As you go through, you're gonna now figure out which of these platforms you think would best fit your audience and your brand. So look at visual content. So is your audience interested in visual content? If you're looking at an older audience, you know, 50s, 60s, they're not, they like to read, right? And they're used to consuming content in that way. So if you're appealing, if that's your audience, so let's say bath bombs for grandmas, right? So you're probably looking at more also relaxing, but also for a more mature audience. Instagram may not help you. Facebook might. You may even be able to convert some of this to more blogs because they're consuming content in that way. If you're looking at bath bombs for young dancers, right? So the glitz and the glam, when they come out of the bath, they're sparkling all over, right? Because they're going to dance and they're very vibrant and whatever. You know, maybe TikTok is going to be more important because that's how they're consuming their content. Engagement, you know, what kind of engagement do you foresee your consumer leaning towards? The demographic, as I would have described, and the workbook highlights kind of each of them that you can look into the types of content that they're getting. You can think down the road about ads. At some point, you will have to include advertising, paid advertising into your strategy. And that's something we'll look at a little later on. But you can start thinking about that ahead of time, you know, which of these would work. Brand discovery. So how is your audience finding your brand? You know, are they doing it through influencers? So if influencers are an important component of your strategy, or based on your customer avatar, they tend to always be following Instagram. So we're talking about beauty and so on. Then Instagram may be useful, even TikTok, right? If people are in groups, you know, lifestyle groups. So like me, for example, I'm in lots of Facebook groups. I just love Facebook groups. And if I depend heavily on other person's recommendations or experiences to drive my purchasing decision, Facebook groups may be more important. If you have kind of more creatives, Pinterest might be very useful because they're there. Okay, so these are just some examples. And e-commerce integration. So this is kind of your website. How does your website link in, or does it have e-commerce functionalities within the platform? If that's important for you, you can use that as a consideration as well. When you're finished with that, you are going to select one. When you have selected that one, delete everything else. It's not important. One. And then you are going to optimize that Instagram page using this checklist. So ensure that you create your Instagram, your social media page, and then you're going to just optimize it. So you're just setting it up so that it is optimized to attract your customer avatar. Okay, so just go through the checklist, and I have included some additional tools. So like a quick links landing page, if you're using Instagram, for example. In fact, any of the social media, you can use these links. So if you don't yet have a website or a fully developed website, or you have many different components of your website that you want to showcase, you can utilize this, for example, put your information in. So my bath bomb business, you know, I can go ahead and I can change up the content in there and make it to my brand. You know, I'm looking for something neutral and appealing. So this is how you can utilize these tools. Okay. All right. All right, so next is after you have done your optimization, one social media, and then you optimize. Let me just see if there are any other questions. No other questions. Good. So after you have optimized your page, or at least come up with all the resources you need to optimize your page. And just to mention, I've also included some examples, for example, of optimized social media pages. So you can see what it should look like, okay? So you have a banner and I've included templates, so you don't have to guess. Just take your time, go through the workbook step by step, line by line, and go through. So I've given some examples so that you kind of know exactly what to cover. All right. Then once you've done that, we now want to craft content. Now, I'm a big believer in templates. Just like formulations. Formulations are templates. I'm a big believer in templates. Don't start from scratch. What you're going to do, you're going to create your templates in your strategy, right? So then every time you're creating the content, you don't have to guess, right, what to do. So here are the instructions. Using the theme selected from section 2 and platform identified from section 3, you're going to choose one content format for each theme, graphic template, and caption style. Okay, so what do I mean? There's lots of information below. So content format, what do we mean? Before we even go there, let me just hop up and go back and copy these two themes. So we're looking at promotions. Okay, here we go. Promotions. Okay, so promotions, I've chosen limited time offer and customer reviews. For promotions, limited time offers and customer reviews. I'm not interested in anything else, just those two. What is a content format that I am going to use for limited time offers? So select one. Don't select many, just choose one, right? Because all of this you're gonna see, you can easily just duplicate. You can repurpose over and over and over and over and over again. And all of a sudden you realize your social media page is phenomenal, right? And this is all out of just one, right? Being simple. So what are the content formats? You have photos, perfect for Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, videos in different forms. It can be short clips or long form, stories, carousels, infographics, which are a little bit more complex, GIFs, polls and surveys, user-generated content. So somebody who has used your products is giving you content, live videos, behind the scenes content. So I've chosen limited time offer. And I'm gonna decide, I'm just gonna use photos. So all my limited time offers are gonna be photos of the product that there's a limited time offer on. All right, is that clear? So every time I'm doing a limited time offer post, it's going to be a photo. And it's gonna be a photo of that particular product that is on a limited time offer. And and you'll see with the scheduling that you will be promoting every 4 posts will be a promotions post. So you don't have to guess what next to post because you already have it in strategy. So I'm gonna do photos, and then for my customer reviews, I'm gonna do user-generated content. So I'm gonna ask my customers, maybe I have 2 customers, and I'm just gonna ask them, can you please just record 2 or 3 videos for me? Just easy, quick videos for me. And that's what I'm gonna use in my social media. And if they agree to that, okay? So I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna say this is a photo and this is a user-generated content. Which is really just, you can define that further to say it will be a video that you will ask for, okay? Or you're tagging from their profile pages, whatever the case is, okay? Now, graphic template. Now, as you go through and you figure out which kinds of content your customers tend to like, right? So if you look at The Ordinary, just use this as an example. They tend to just provide, there are lots of videos, and then there are lots of just photos of the images of the products itself. So you may decide you'll just do very, very good photos of your products for the limited time offer products. Or you may decide to do something that's a little bit more graphic, right? So it has words, etc. So for example, and I've included, as you go through the workbook, I've included some templates. So if you want to do something that's a little bit more kind of graphically designed, so you don't just want to do a full image, or you want to mix it. So you can do a full image, just as an example. I'm just gonna add a blank page here for Canva. These are my Bath and Beauty Bombs. This particular Bath and Beauty Bomb is a sweet orange bath bomb, okay? And it's 50% off, right? So this, I have a standard template that I use every time I'm going to be promoting my limited time offer. Or I may say, okay, I will interchange. So I will have, you know, when I do my promotion one for this week, it will be this kind of graphic design. So it has words and it has images. And then the next one I may decide will be a photo. So you have that kind of visual interest on the feed, especially for Instagram, that's important. And it also will help with kind of fatigue. You want your audience to be intrigued every time they see something, it's almost slightly different. And this essentially is just your post, right? That's it. It's just an image, strong image, right? And you decide early on what the design will be. And these templates, you're free to use them. You can change them and adjust them to your brand. So go ahead and change the colors, change the fonts, as I discussed with the mood board. If you're using these as your mood board, you're free to go ahead and change that. So this is Beliza, and let's get that color. And I'm just gonna kind of go back and if I can find, okay, so I'll go back and I'll change that to this blue, because that is my brand color. And then I'm changing that to Beliza. I forget what the term is, but you get the point, okay? I don't spend too much time there, but you go ahead and you just change your fonts throughout, add your images so that it speaks to your brand visual and your customer. You set these up early. So when you have this, this table here, you can then just put a link, if you wish, to your templates that you created, which I like to do. I like to, that way, when I'm ready to design, I don't have to kind of figure out what the design should look like. It's kind of already created at the beginning. And then the caption, it's also nice to have a kind of template for the caption. So for promotions, I've gone ahead in the workbook and I've included what I call the anatomy of captions. So let's go here, just copy and paste that, and all your captions should have the same general format. So one, product description. So clearly describe the featured product or service, highlighting its key benefits. So sweet orange bath bomb is infused with the sweet orange essential oils and lavender essential oils, scientifically proven to improve mood. Now ensure you're writing again in the voice that you would have identified in your branding, because a stressed out woman probably doesn't want to hear scientifically proven too, because that probably reminds her too much of work. But you know, you can craft it in a way that it speaks to your avatar. And then a call to action, encourage them. So what are you encouraging them to do? Our sweet orange bath bombs are now on sale, 50% off for the weekend. Okay. And what's unique about these bath bombs? Remember, our bath bombs, unlike others, are sustainably packaged and, you know, designed easy to grab and go packaging, or, you know, whatever the case is. What it is that makes yours different from everybody else's on the market. And then what are the hashtags, you know, stress relief, spa at home, you know, what are those hashtags that are relevant for your brand? You would have done that earlier on. as you define these through. And if you're tagging anybody, you're going to put that in. User-generated content is the same thing, right? If somebody has given you a review and you're tagging them, you're going to include in the same way in the caption in the very same way. And the video, you just have some set guidelines, right? Because it will probably just be a simple video, or you may decide, for example, let me go down. All right, so you may decide, for example, that when someone gives you a video, you want to include it, let us say in here. So sale on now, which you may keep a graphic there, and then you may upload beauty product review. I'm just quickly grabbing a video. I'm in the wrong place. Beauty product review. And I'm trying to find a video. And let's see if what would kind of stand out. Let's just say hypothetically, right? She's doing glasses, right? But somebody, you know, an influencer you work with or a customer is giving a review of how amazing your bath bombs are. Imagine she's showing bath bombs and how amazing it's sustainably packaged. And you may decide that this is your template for all your videos that you will use for your user-generated content. So I hope that's making sense. So the point is, when you go through, you are going to just choose one content type for each theme, and you're going to come up with templates. So the template may simply be just a video, or it is a graphically designed photo, or it's a carousel. And I've included templates in the workbook for you. And then the caption, copy and paste the anatomy and just answer the questions that are there. And that will form your template for your caption. And it's just cut and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, you do the same for education, the same for inspiration, the same for entertainment, and the same for engagement. All right. I also included, just for your benefit, it's nice when you go onto feeds that it's all consistent and cohesive. So have a consistent color palette. If you're taking your own pictures at home, I would recommend using the same color background all the time, because this allows your social media to have a kind of consistent feed. So the tower, for example, let me see if I can find it. It's actually linked here. I'm going to go all the way up and I'm going to show you an example. Tower 28. Every one of their posts have something red in it, right? And even though it's just all video, there's no graphically designed anything. It's just uploaded to TikTok and the text is added in TikTok, but everything has something red. And that central red right throughout gives a cohesiveness to the brand. You can do the same thing with yours. Every time you take a picture, you're going to have some element that is repeated right throughout. So if it is a prop, if it is a background, if it is some graphic that you include on every single piece of content, so that it gives a cohesiveness right throughout. Okay. See if there are any questions before I run through. All right. Okay, great, Alison. Perfect, perfect. All right, so let's quickly run to the last bit, which is where the magic happens, okay? So you're now going to create a posting schedule. I'm a big believer that, you know, you should not spend too much energy trying to figure out what to do. Spend an hour or two over this weekend and you're going to work through this workbook. Go through the workbook, or if you don't have the workbook, based on what we've discussed, watch the video and make your notes. And at the end of it, you need to develop a posting schedule. You need to develop a content schedule so that when you sit down to do your posting, you don't have to figure out what to do. I don't want you to spend time figuring out what to do. Your mental energy is best utilized when you're in the lab, doing production, doing quality control, doing dealing with faulty products, dealing with customers, strategizing, building partnerships. That's where I want you to use your mental energy. You're going to spend 2 hours every month. You already have the strategy, sections 1 to 4. You will not, you do that once, you don't have to do it again. You do that once, you don't have to do it again. Section 5, you're going to do every month. 2 hours every month, you're going to create a schedule. And after you spend that 2 hours creating the, in fact, you don't need 2 hours to create the schedule. I'm going to show you how you can create the schedule in 5 or 10 minutes. And then you're going to spend the rest of the 2 hours and you're going to adjust your content and at least schedule some of the posts. It doesn't have to be once a day because I know you're busy, but give yourself a target. And when you meet that target, then you're going to add on to that target. So it may be once a week. And when you realize, okay, I get this once a week, give yourself twice a week. When you get to twice a week, you may say to yourself, okay, you know, I'm going to commit to paying a VA to help me with this. Okay. And I will pay that VA $5 an hour, or an assistant, or your child, you know, they're on TikTok anyway, right? Let them help you. And you're going to have them say, okay, I've been doing two times a week. I'm going to ask you to do the same 2 times a week, but you're going to batch create and you're going to post it ahead of time. Okay. And how can you do this? Very easy. So you're going to create this schedule. Okay. You're going to create this 30-day schedule. And I say 30 days, doesn't mean that you're going to post every day because it may not be viable, but at least you will see that your content is kind of set up for you already. And you can start with the first one, then the second one, then the third one. So even if it doesn't happen on day 1, day 2, day 3, at least you know the first post is this, the second post is that, the third post is that, and you can at least give yourself some kind of schedule. Okay. Now you, again, you have selected the themes and the post ideas already, right? So you're just copying and pasting those themes and themes for each content pillar. Then for each theme, you're going to come up with a post idea, a content type, and a caption, which you've already templated in section 4. Now, you can do this easily with ChatGPT. Don't worry that you're not going to be creative enough. If your brand is well-defined and if your customer avatar is well-defined, nobody, no matter how much both of you are using ChatGPT, it doesn't matter. You will have unique content. Okay. That's why it's important that that pre-work is done. If you don't do that pre-work, then when you use ChatGPT is going to be spitting out what it's spitting out for everybody else. Do that pre-work. And here is a prompt. It's already there. And I'm going to show you this in real time. Okay. Just copy the prompt. And you can sit down and go through yourself. You don't have to use this, but I'm just saying this is something you can easily brainstorm with ChatGPT, okay? So create a 30-day social media content calendar for Instagram. I create an Instagram. It's gonna be your, whatever platform you are using. I create, and you're gonna describe the product, type, the solution, the problem, and for who. And as I mentioned before, as much detail as you can give right here, as much as you can give right here, the better. Please create a social media content calendar in a table. You want it in a table, okay? The first column should be day. The second column should be pillar. And you don't have to change this. You're going to rotate between promotion, education, inspiration, entertainment, engagement. So in other words, no need for you to figure out what you're going to post about. It's just rotating it. The first post is a promotion post, then an education post, then an inspiration post, then an entertainment post, then an engagement post. When you get to the engagement post, you start over again with promotion, then education, then inspiration, etc., etc., etc. And you keep repeating that over and over and over again, over and over and over again. Don't, what do I post? No, it's there in a schedule. Just stick to the schedule. Then the third column should be theme. For promotion pillar select, you have selected which themes in section 3, section 2, which themes are you selecting for each pillar? For education, which themes for that pillar? Okay, and let me show you an actual example. Okay, I have an example here. So if you have the workbook, just click on the example and it will spit out the example. So this is mine that I have created, right? For my bath bombs. Okay, so let me copy that, and I'm gonna go back to ChatGPT. And this is an actual example, right? So again, I create aromatherapy bath bombs for high octane women with busy lives and families. Please create a social media content calendar in a table, and all of the information is there. So I filled in, because for promotions, I selected limited time offer and customer reviews. I've selected those already in section 2. So I'm just putting it in. For education, I've selected ingredient formula information and skincare tips. For inspiration, I've selected stress relief, motivation, and personal stories, etc. All right. Once you fill in those little bits of details, click enter, and you watch ChatGPT do the brainstorming for you. Do not, these tools are here for a reason. Do not overexert your energy when you have so many other things to do. Use the tools to help you. So it is spitting out for you, for your brand, because I have defined my brand as aromatherapy brands for high octane women. So it's saying on the first day, I need to showcase a special discount on a bundle of aromatherapy bath bombs. I'm going to use a photo because I've told it. For promotions, for limited time offers, I'm using photos. Okay. And it just gives me a kind of caption that I can build out. So this now is easy to do. So my first post will be a promotion post. It's a limited time offer, and it is showcasing a special discount on a bundle of aromatherapy bombs. So let's go back. It's a photo, right? And I have decided I am going to just do a photo of, I'm going to use this one instead of, right? So I have a bundle of my grapefruit, lemon, and I'm saying this is grapefruit, this is lemon, and this is sweet orange and lemon. So buy the 3 and you get a discount of 20% when you buy all 3, or the bundle of 3, right? Because you know your product ranges and your product offerings, but ChatGPT has told you this is what you're gonna post. And it is set up in such a way, rotating, that and giving you captions that with call to actions that is forcing anybody who is visiting your page or come across your page to do something, to engage with your brand, to check out to check out your page, to learn more, to comment, to share their stories, to share your link. And it is already designed in ChatGPT. It is spitting it out for you. So if you have a VA, what you can do is copy this, okay, and tweak it. And ChatGPT is funny with tables. I don't know why it doesn't copy well directly to Google Docs. So you have to put it in a spreadsheet first if you wish. So this is an example, but let me add it here. You have to kind of put it in a sheet first, and it looks more sensible. If you put it in a doc, it's gonna be crazy, but you can then copy this and put this in a Google Doc. That's all a detail that I'm just making you aware of. But the point I'm making is that ChatGPT will give you 30 days, and every 30 days, you're just gonna repeat the same thing. So in May, the first day of May, you're doing the same thing. The first day of June, you're doing the same thing. The first day of July, I think I've missed, have I skipped? I think I've skipped out some ones, but it doesn't matter, you get my point. You're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I promise you, without question, if you stick to this, even if you don't post every day, but you post consistently and you engage your audience. So when they give a comment, you respond to them. If you click on somebody's page, so somebody who has followed your page or liked your page, and they click on their page and you see a really amazing photo of them and their family, and you click like, that kind of engagement is you're gonna see traffic come over to your sales pages. I promise you, it's really a science for all intents and purposes. You know, whatever you put in, you're gonna get specific things out. Okay. So use ChatGPT if you wish, but you don't have to. you can go ahead and you can just, based on what you would have done in section 2 and section 4, you can just go ahead and fill in the information and you have a planner, a schedule. All the creative work is done upfront and that's it, right? And as I said, there is an example that you can look through and you can build this out. Okay, I promised I would be an hour and I'm a little over an hour. But let me see if there are any questions. Right, great, Brenda. I'm happy it's very useful to you. I know it's a lot to go through, but if you're watching this as a replay, just take your time and go section by section and implement. If you have the workbook, you don't even need to watch the video. Just go through the workbook line by line by line, and it will take you 2 hours to get through this. At the end of the 2 hours, you will have a social media strategy and a 30-day content calendar that you can replicate. If you're in the Bath and Beauty Brand Growth Hub, as you know, we have social media calendars for each month of the year. This is built effectively off of that. So I use that strategy to build these. So you can pull that information that we've used and that you in your strategy and utilize it in these content calendars, which are already kind of built out for you. So if you're in the hub, you have lots of resources to make this happen. The hashtags, each week, each day, there's a post, there's a prompt, there's a caption, and it's all built around that particular strategy. But you don't have to use this, but it just makes things a lot easier for you if you're in the hub or if you've already bought the social media planner and calendar. Some of you would have bought it as a standalone. It is all built off of those concepts. Okay, let me see if there are any questions. Okay, so I'm going to send an email tomorrow just with a recap and a link to the video. And you will have the weekend, those of you who are in the hub, you will have it in the hub, it will be posted to the hub. You're gonna take some time and you're gonna just go through. And next week, I will just post a little check-in to see if you have made some progress. Take the weekend if you can, take 2 hours and go through and develop your strategy. I promise you, at the end of developing the strategy, you're going to be so overwhelmed with the amount of content you already have for your brand. Even if you have one product, you're going to have so much content, because I know a lot of people struggle with, I have no idea what to put. What am I going to post now? This answers that question. Spend the 2 hours now. And then at the beginning of every month or the end of each month, you're going to create that calendar, detailed calendar for the upcoming month. And I promise you, without question, you're going to see some traction. That strategy, as I said, one platform, one theme for each pillar. Once you have done that, you're going to test the strategy for about 3 to 6 months. And you will see what gains traction, you know, what posts you will see the algorithm is favoring. And then you can double down on that. Or you can add new themes to test those as well. But this, I promise you, is really the best approach. Just set up a strategy early. And then as you move forward, you will find that it's much easier to do that song and dance that we call social media. All right. I don't think there are any other questions. If not, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. I will share an update and some reminders with regards to this particular workshop so that you can have it to go through on the weekend. And I really do hope that it is helpful and useful for you and your brand. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Happy to have had you. And if there are any questions, please feel free to go ahead and post them here in the group.